Hello and welcome to Alog Radio, bringing you facts, statistics and stories from around the world. If you like what you hear, then please remember to subscribe or follow the page that it's attached to. So sit back, relax and enjoy. It's the 9th of February 2017, and on this day in 1972 the British government declared a state of emergency after a month-long coal miners' strike. And coal's played a big role in the development of the world and the development of civilization, and there's many facts about coal, and some of them are less obvious than others, I guess. Like the obvious facts about coal is that it's the main fossil fuel that's used to generate electricity. So most power stations on the earth rely on coal still, and in China I think it's 72%. And another fact about coal is that it's made of carbon, and it's actually made of the same material as diamond and graphite and various other carbon allotropes, but it's not an allotrope, it's actually just like a mineral, but it's made from dead plants and it actually burns. And coal's like you can actually make synthetic fossil fuels, like synthetic car fuels, like liquid fuels from coal. You can actually what you do is you make it into a sign gas, and from a sign gas you condense that into a fuel, into a synthetic petroleum or something like that. It's very hard to do, but as the oil runs out, it's going to be the next way to get the hold of petroleum and diesel is from coal, and we have plenty of it. Well, that's all I can say about coal today. I'm going to be reading out some facts from my favourite fact book at the moment. 1227 QI Facts Blow Your Socks Off by Lloyd John. It's, like I said, you get change from a fiver from these books, and they're well worth it. It's full of very interesting facts. It's on Kindle, and here's one. The main predator... No, I've read that one. The boa constrictor is the only living animal whose common name is exactly the same as its scientific name. And under the Wildlife and Countryside Act, it is explicitly illegal in Britain to use a machine gun to kill a hedgehog. Yeah, why would you want to anyway? Who'd want to kill a hedgehog? That's all. The human eye can detect 10 million different shades of colour. Wombats have cubic feces. Harvard University has the largest ant collection in the world. And here's another one. It takes a photon 40,000 years to get from the centre of the sun to its surface, but only 8.3 minutes to get from there to the Earth. This is true, and I knew of this fact a while back because I used to watch science documentaries. But yeah, the light you're looking at was probably created some time ago, maybe 40,000 years ago, and some of them are even millions of years old, because they get emitted and then they bump into atoms, and they get absorbed by the atom and then re-emitted back out again. And this process happens over and over again throughout the sun, and it goes in a zigzag pattern throughout the whole body of the sun, and then until it finally gets to the surface. Here's another fact. Gorillas and potatoes have 2 more chromosomes than people. And this is the funny thing about DNA. It's not the amount of DNA you have that makes you more advanced. It's the way it's switched on. So like I remember reading that there's actually grasses that have more DNA than humans. It's mostly junk DNA that accumulated over time, and it's the same with humans. We have a lot of DNA that we don't need or don't use, and it's just switched off, and it's never used, a lot of it, and it doesn't have a use. It's just like leftover DNA from something else, and it's the same with so it's funny to know that some things we consider to be humble animals have more DNA than us. Here's another one. An orange is a berry, but a strawberry isn't. Well, the reason that is because it comes from a single ovary of a flower, and a strawberry comes from multiple flowers, and they're grouped together, and it's um, like a collection, and it's more it's more related to the stone fruits. They're like little microscopic, the little tiny stone fruits all grouped together. So it's more related to grapes than other berries. In 1999, more than 3,000 people were hospitalised after tripping over a laundry basket. That's a bit like the story of the guy that drowned in a dog bowl, like a dog drinking bowl, or a ditch. There's another guy that drowned in a ditch. If that happened to me, then just make something up. Tell them I had a heart attack or something. Don't tell someone I drowned in a bowl of water, because that's really embarrassing. I'm now going to read some facts from the website called thefactsite.com, and on this site it's got 100 facts, and there's one about Colgate, and what it says is the name Colgate, if you translate into Spanish, it means go hang yourself, so they had trouble selling it in Spanish speaking countries. So that's interesting, because actually this just Colgate's the name of a person, a family, and by some coincidence it's offensive in another language. I wonder if Alog, like the name for this virtual radio station, if it's offensive in another language. I'll have to check that. An octopus's testicles are located in its head. I find that hard to believe. Funny enough, it's a very strange animal because it actually has 9 brains and it has human-like eyes, but it's got no skeleton. It's an invertebrate and it's like a mollusk. So it's a very bizarre animal anyway, I guess. So it shouldn't surprise me that it has testicles in its head instead of in the end of between limbs. Here's another one. It is illegal to die in the Houses of Parliament. Well, if they die, you can just send them to prison. Yeah. Okay, going back to 1227 QI facts to blow your socks off by Lloyd John. Here's a very interesting one. Graphene is one of the strongest. It's the strongest material in the world. To break through a sheet of graphene as thick as cling film would take the force of an elephant balanced on the point of a pencil. And it's quite useful actually because it's very light. You can actually make it 1 atom thick, and they reckon it's going to be used quite a lot in space travel, because you need the spacecraft to be quite strong and light at the same time, and also solar cells. Like if you want to use a solar cell, you want something that remains strong and intact, and still has the a wide space and has low mass, and that's the only material that matches up all the criteria. I think I mentioned in the earlier talk about something similar to that. It's like carbon nanotubes. So some carbon nanotropes. There's 3 carbon nanotropes that are actually there's 3 strongest materials. So there's diamond, carbon nanotubes, and graphene. They're all super strong materials. Graphene and graphite as well, and carbon nanotubes are very good superconductors. They can conduct electricity quite well and heat quite well as well. So I think they'll play a big role in electronics. So it's one of the most useful materials in this world as well. And human saliva contains a painkiller called opiraphin that is 6 times more powerful than morphine. If it's that strong, then why don't they synthesize it and make it commercially available? Actually, I wonder if that's related to the case of horses. If you grab their lips, it calms them down. Maybe that's similar to them. Maybe there's glands in their lips that releases that similar hormone. I'll have to check on that some other time. That's all I have time for today, but if you subscribe and you get many people to subscribe, I'll make the shows longer. So until next time, goodbye.